We're going to go right to Korea to talk about this latest missile launch. Evan Ramstad is there to talk to us about this. And Evan, bring us up to speed exactly what happened when the North Koreans launched this rocket.
Well, this time, as with every other launch that they've tried of a long-range missile or rocket, whatever you want to call it, it failed. This one failed after about 80 seconds in the air. It landed in water. It was probably in the midst of transitioning from the first stage to the second stage. The South Korean military reported that this afternoon, after all of the they started to release some of the details, and what they reported was that about the first part of the rocket splashed down in waters kind of west of Seoul, and another part traveled on another sort of 60 to 100 miles farther south and broke into pieces down near the South Korea city of Gunsan.
And Evan, what does this tell us about the progress that North Korea has made in its efforts to deliver some sort of rocket capability?
Well, it tells us that they're not very far along at all. And of course, you know, when you look back at the statistics, when the United States and the Soviet Union back in the 50s were starting their rocket programs, you know, they were firing dozens of rockets a year. And, you know, of course, they had many failures at the start. North Korea has fired 4 since 1998. All of them have failed. And so it tells us that they're just not very far along in this type of technology.
Evan, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the U.S. reaction and, you know, what they've been saying and you know, what their stance is on this program.
Well, the U.S. and other countries are still, of course, very concerned and issued statements condemning North Korea for going through with this. The U.S. thought that it had a deal in late February with the North Koreans not to take any provocative actions like this. The U.S. was ready to give some food assistance that North Korea badly needs. And instead, North Korea said that no, that deal did not include space launches. That deal only included missile launches. And of course, everybody knows that the technology is basically the same, that if you're going to fire a space rocket, you're going to learn things that are going to apply to your military program. So even if we take them at face value that this was a space launch, then they were still going to learn some things for the military. But of course, a lot of people don't take them at face value. There were some questions about whether the trajectory that they announced was adequate to reach space. And whether that was really a satellite that they were showing us and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I guess what really matters is that they're still not very far along with this long-range technology.
Yeah, and Evan, this is the first time that North Korea has basically even admitted that it's one of its rocket tests was a failure. What's the significance of their admission?
Well, I tell you, this is the thing that everybody in what I call the industry, you know, in Los Angeles has the entertainment industry, New York has the financial industry, in Seoul we have the North Korea watching industry. And this is what everybody was talking about today, was the fact that North Korea admitted this, because they've had 3 previous long-range launches, right? One of them they absolutely said was a military test, but the other 2 they insisted were space shots. And they said that they made it to space in those times and that they put satellites into space. Well, of course they didn't. No satellites were ever found. We know that both of those launches went badly and fell a minute or a few minutes after launch. And but this time, North Korea admitted it. So everybody's trying to figure out why. What does this mean? What's the new game? Or is it because they had foreign media and they had made such a big public relations thing out of this because of the Kim Il-sung anniversary that's happening this weekend? You know, maybe they just realized that they couldn't hide it. You know, the whole world was tracking it. They knew it. And, you know, there would be no point in coming out to the world and saying, hey, yes, we did it, when, you know, the prospect is that South Korea, the U.S., other people may be able to pick up some of the parts of the failed rocket.
All right, Evan, thanks very much. Evan Ramstad in Korea bringing us up to speed.